Hello, I'm Charlotte Allen, founder and CEO of Rebel Success for Leaders. We work with executives and vice presidents responsible for R&D, engineering, and innovation at primarily food and beverage companies. The topics we share on this channel are critical to change leadership success in any organization. Today, we're talking about when leadership experience becomes a liability and the signals to know when that's happening. I call it the judgment gap. With experience comes confidence, and leaders that show up confidently will have a better chance of inspiring their organizations to follow them. Those leaders also know that the more their career progresses, less and less real frontline information reaches them. In fact, there's a 51-point gap between what senior leaders believe is reaching them and what's happening on the ground. That's a study from BCG, Columbia Business School, recently here in November of 25. There are several factors that compound the gap. Friction is when there's the pushback or the question or the hesitation. All of those are critical to understanding the context that went into a decision. And that friction is productive because it surfaces that context. But when that friction is missing, that's a factor that can compound this gap. Eroding bench meaning mid-level talent that once caught those contextual errors because they were closest to the front lines are thinning from either retirements, flattening organizations, or the false assumptions that AI can fill that role. That's what some are hearing now, most recently. And then there is the AI filter. It does a great job, AI does a great job of surfacing outputs, but without reasoning. So when a junior talent or a mid-level talent person presents a conclusion with confidence, the context may be lacking about what formed that decision, especially if the decision or the conversation or the argument was created via AI. This is what we're calling the judgment gap. It's the widening chasm between your organization's capability and the human capacity to know when something is wrong. Okay, so our organization may look and seem very capable in certain situations, but our human capacity to make a judgment is only something that we can do. And to know when that's wrong often sets up a gap between what our capability is and what our capacity is. So, what are those signals to watch out for? Overconfidence or confident conclusions without underlying assumptions. So being able to challenge those assumptions is critical. Reduced escalations, that means nobody is elevating the problem up to your level. The questions come too slow and there's too much agreement. Clearly, that's a signal that there may be some friction or there may be some uh, issues or lack of rationale or reasoning that went into a decision, but it's not coming to your level. And then fewer domain-specific pushbacks, fewer subject matters experts in your organization that you trust are pushing back or challenging that. They want the organization is moving forward without an assumption or a list of assumptions that went into the decision that's being made. Oftentimes, leaders feel good about having a highly capable team and they feel good about those teams being able to execute without a lot of oversight. Highly capable teams can absorb integration and keep producing because they'll find a way to do it. They'll find a workaround. They'll deliver an output that looks like progress. But what a highly capable team often does not do is flag when the recommendation was wrong based on context. because they are highly capable, they are confident. And if they were wrong based on that, that's typically not something that's flagged. That silence can persist for a very long time and have long-standing business implications. So, senior leaders often see employees as not ready for the change that's being presented to them, that's being led from the top of the organization. This is a study that's specific to AI, but it is true across many different kinds of transitions. Um, Executives are twice as likely to say that employee readiness is a barrier as they are to identify their own leadership is the problem. They don't feel as though their employees are coming to the table. They're not showing up. They're not getting trained. They're not completing their development requirements. They're not championing the change, is often the conclusion. What leaders, C-suite executives are not doing is identifying their own leadership as the problem. This particular report's conclusion was that employees were ready. The biggest barrier to success is leadership. It's a McKinsey study on super agency in the workplace, and it's very recent from January of 25. This is our judgment gap infographic, which captures in one spot the change leadership insight we're discussing in today's video. It will be available to you as a link in the notes, so you don't need to come back here unless you want to, and I'm not going to really go through it in detail. So what's a leader to do? What's the leadership move here? First, name it. Name it publicly to the team. This judgment gap needs to get out into the open. So that'll enable you to close that gap faster when you're naming it. Measure it, not with the typical dollars and time, but with observed behaviors. Not surveys, again, not dollars and time, but measure it with observed behaviors. And then move it. Move it with desired behavior changes. What is that behavior change you are looking to see? Reward the friction that's missing and slow that automatic, easy decision that often just goes past the rationale and the assumptions that go into a decision. If you're looking for more about this topic, you can read the full blog on our website, rebelsuccessforleaders.com, or the world's top STEM leaders LinkedIn newsletter post about the same topic. You can also always subscribe here for insights for STEM leaders. This is an exciting opportunity. I'd like to invite any of you to join us if you're an executive or vice president with responsibilities for innovation, engineering, IT, or R&D. Every other month, we host a virtual conversation to share insights, challenges, and strategies for implementing and operationalizing critical initiatives successfully. Topics such as the judgment gap. These conversations uncover real-world challenges, and we'd love for you to get on the distribution list. The link will be in the notes, and hopefully we'll see you at the next one. Thank you. That's it for today. I look forward to the next video.